Okay, I'm going to show you a little bit of functionality of why you group things into components, and I'm going to do that by actually wishing I had two screens so I could actually have this off to the side. But we work in a program like Sketchup and really have to get good at kind of learning how to deal with components. Because this single floor here, I'm going to put it off to the side here. And if you remember, we looked at that a little bit earlier, I hope. Put it off to the side because we were looking at the kind of general concept of load pathing. Now what I've done in this program, and I'm pointing out that we'll be pulling things out of both AutoCAD and SketchUp and being really cognizant of planes, I've gone and changed the edge style and the face style to X-ray, and I'm going to get rid of that right now. I'm going to go inside of this right now, keep going down underneath there, and I'm going to go ahead and change the color of this just so I can see, put some transparency in it. Because what I don't really like in the end about this model is that this here is supposed to be a little bit taller, isn't it? So that sense, if I go back to this one, I really want to isolate that one. Now that one is called a column, I think. Entity info. That is called a column. So what I might want to do is go off to the side of the column, and I talked about columns going up and down. I want that column at least to go through that floor plate. And then I may have to go back and change the floor plate. So how do I do that? Well, I go and bring in a component, which is the column. Stick it over here, and I can now click inside of that. This is more or less block editor if you think about that. I'm going to move it close by here. And now if I go in and double click on that, get inside of it, if you would, I can go ahead and push this out a little bit more. And you can see probably that it's kind of binding up. And I think that floor thickness was probably, I don't know. Let's see what our floor thickness is. So I can right click, close component. Let's go ahead and check with some of our tools here that you should start. That floor thickness is 0.5. I'm going to go edit, undo, close, edit, undo, push, pull. Go back here, and I want to push that up 0.5. So I'm going to come back here, push this up, edit, undo, push, pull. Now I could do any number of things. One thing I could do is scale each of these. I'm going to push that up 0.5. And so now when I close component, you can see underneath here, in all reality, this has been pushed up all the way through. Now that, however, is great except for the fact that my floor, if you kind of get to the way things might be done framed through, my floor is wrong. So now I can think about what that floor was, and was it in fact that was level 1 floor. So we might go back here and put in level 1 floor. And level 1 floor, of course, goes all the way up. But I'm going to go here, and we don't need this. I'm going to go back. This is the block editor, or the family editor, or whatever you would do, a component editor in any of these programs. Just kind of taking it down to its base level. I'm going to go down and bring in a component. That component is going to be single floor. I think floor, I don't know if floor was by me. Well, floor is the basic one we use for sketchy physics, so I'm going to place that and then right click, erase it. So I'm not sure in the end, basically. I think in the end what we did, it was single floor. So I'm going to bring single floor in here and go through and see if we can play around with that a little bit and get it fixed up. So that idea of really breaking things up into single floor, I'm going to go inside single floor here. And in all reality, single floor, that probably was level, that was a group. So we can kind of take that group and we can explode the group. And now we can probably do things like within here, take around here and say right click, intersect with model. And that would mean probably I can erase that out. Do the same thing here, across here. Take across, right click, intersect with model. We'll see whether it lets me do it. Right click, intersect with model, and that would probably allow me to erase that out. Right click, intersect with model, and what that does, it just kind of takes all the lines in a block or a component and makes them kind of intersect with the model so that you can then do some cutting. Now, why that might make a big difference is right now if I push this up a little bit more, you notice up, let me go backwards, edit, undo, and see my column, my floor is not actually consistent then. So when I go right here, I should have changed everything within here, and if you notice, you probably did then. So just this general bit, we'll publish this out. I got my floor through, and of course my computer shuts down when I shake this up, but we'll get that going on another machine. This general basic, how do you go about doing this and getting into Revit is then not that big a deal, but you do want to start to try to experiment pretty much with using Revit for the tools, but understand that you can get some really good look just by getting it done in AutoCAD, SketchUp, whatever the case would be. If you remember here, we had, now looking at the load path, we had the kind of the floor structure, the framing, joists, so the joists, the girders, the columns, and then you start to see the columns start to accumulate down. Of course, the beautiful thing about a lot of this is that it's almost scary how easy it starts to become. But one thing you can start to do then in Revit is you can at least add up very quickly the loads, and you can do the same in any program. But if you think about eventually there's going to be different forces coming at, you're going to have the potential for seismic loads, wind loads across, all kinds of different things, and you want to kind of get good at least conceptualizing what's going on so you can then break some things into some good 2D sketches. Alright, so we'll go ahead and save that, print this, and see you in the morning. Thanks for listening.